Welcome into Chicago Bears Now Live. Luke Getsy has been fired. The offensive coordinator exits after 2 seasons. My goodness, I see the super chats already flying in. We'll get to Michael in a second, but the Bears have fired Luke Getsy after 2 years. Matt Eberflus is expected to return. Chicago has also decided to part ways with quarterbacks coach Andrew Janocko and wide receiver and pass game coordinator Tyke Tolbert. But it's Michael Horowitz. Boom! He says, let's go. Chicago is on the horizon. And Michael, I'll be very curious to see how the chat feels about this overall, because I'll get into my thoughts later. I would have also fired Matt Eberflus personally. It doesn't sound like that's going to be the case, as Michael gets yet another sticker on the Bears Now Helmet Hall of Fame. But this was like minimum of what had to happen, right? Like there was no scenario where you could just completely run it back. So at least they've gone that route. We'll dive deeper into my thoughts as we go here. But obviously, if you guys have super chats, we'll get those flowing here on the show as well. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Luke Getsy, Andrew Janocko, Tyke Tolbert, and probably more coming in terms of on the chopping block. Okay. The biggest problem with Flus staying is not his coaching. Do we honestly trust him to pick the next coordinators? I don't. It's a great point. He picked Luke Getsy and Alan Williams, both who Alan Williams barely got it through 1 season. He had to suspiciously resign 1 game into year 2 due to an HR violation, and Luke Getsy failed. So it's a very valid point. I would have to think that Ryan Poles is going to have some involvement in the OC search. I don't think you just blindly can trust Flus to pick that guy, and you know, we could explore candidates as we go. We'll have a Luke Getsy replacements video at some point as well. But it's a valid concern, Lucas, and I don't blame you for having those feelings. Give me your one-word reaction to Luke Getsy being fired. Drop 1 word in the comment section down below. Here's an interesting note as well. I don't hear you in my ear, by the way. A little better. Brad Biggs with an interesting note. 2 Bears offensive coordinators have lasted more than 2 seasons in the last 25 years. Ron Turner from 05 to 09, John Shoup from 01 to 03. So since 2010, not a single OC has lasted more than 2 seasons. That's not good, man. I mean, that's not good. Drink says finally. Mark says yes. OKC says hallelujah. Overdue from Quan. Complacent from Geoduder. Bye from Marcus. Rejoicing from DJ. Isaiah says more. Williams says late. Yeah, I would have fired him mid-season and given Andrew Janocko a look, but they did not do that. Now Janocko has been fired as well. So it sounds like the offensive staff is going to have a complete reboot. Maybe I could see Chris Morgan staying, the offensive line coach. I know it was a bad final game, but there were some injuries there. The O-line took some steps in the right direction, but overall the offense just was not good enough. Kyle Smith, soon chance they fire Flus now. I'd say it's basically no chance. Adam Schefter said the expectation is that Matt Eberflus will return. They, of course, could change their mind, but I think the last couple of days have been, all right, what changes are we going to make? We're going to fire Luke Getsy. We're going to shift offense. I'm sure part of the chat between Poles, Flus, and Kevin Warren was, okay, if we move on from Getsy, Matt, who can you bring in here to be the head coach? And he must have thrown some interesting names at him. So I think Ryan Poles really likes Matt Eberflus. I would have fired him too. I'll give more reasons why as we go. But I expect Flus to be back. Ascending Dead with the 5. What about the DC position? Not much talk there. Think they will be bringing up an inside guy. Probably. It's already being leaked out that assuming Flus does return, he will be the play caller. So you can promote John Hoke or Borgonzi to be, the DC in title. Maybe Phil Snow takes that title as well to help during the week, but then on game days, Flus calls the defense. And I've said this for a while. If you're going to keep Flus as head coach, he needs to call plays on defense because that's one of the good things he is actually good at. Lucas, does this confirm Fields is likely gone? I don't know if it confirms it, but I do think it probably trends in that direction. Like, are you going to roll with Justin Fields with the third play caller in 4 years? Seems unlikely. Could it happen? Perhaps. Especially if you hire someone with a similar offense where, you're not changing a ton of the language and he's not having to completely start from scratch in terms of learning a new playbook. But I would have to lean heavily that this probably means they're going to change quarterbacks. And that's scary as well because you could make a strong argument that Matt Eberflus is a lame duck head coach, and if you draft a quarterback and underachieve next year, then we're in the same position we were with Mitch and Justin where they're starting over in year 2 with the new head coach. I don't like that idea. So as crazy as it sounds, if you draft a quarterback, you almost need to give Flus and hopefully the OC, if he stays, 2 years to try and build continuity with that quarterback, which is why I would have changed head coaches. All right, we got Parker here. Is this the end of Justin Fields now that Getsy is gone? Similar question. I kind of just touched on that, Parker, but I would lean probably yes. I don't think anything's set in stone, but I would guess heavily yes. That means they're probably going to go in a new direction at quarterback. Okay, what else we got here? Parker again, who do you want to see as a replacement OC? I'll throw a few names at you. I'm going to take a deeper dive later in the day. That will get a video out, so subscribe and stay tuned for that. I think some names you guys should keep an eye on. Frank Reich, Flus connection. He's been a head coach and offensive coordinator in this league. He was the OC in Philly when they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Had some success in Indianapolis as their head coach. Obviously, it was a disaster in Carolina this year, but there is a connection there. Kellen Moore, another connection with Flus. Eberflus was on the Cowboys defensive staff when Kellen Moore was the OC. There was some overlap there. And then I would also say Eric Bieniemy is a name I would monitor. I would monitor there's a couple other guys I had in mind. Frank Smith, the Dolphins OC. He doesn't call plays, but he is the OC in title, so it would be an upward move because he would get to call plays. That's a name I would consider as well. There were a couple others I wrote down here. Let me scroll down and find it in my notes. It would be, as I can't find it. Here it is. Greg Roman, if you were to keep Justin Fields, and Ken Dorsey. That's the one I was really thinking about. So those are a few guys. Daniel Lawson, anyone think the Bears didn't call these potential upgrades at head coach? Possibly. I mean, DeBear's blog, who's been all over, he was all over the coach and GM search 2 years ago. He was kind of touching on some of this stuff last night. He basically said this is how it was going to go, and that's been confirmed today. He said there was no chance they were ever hiring Harbaugh. That Poles and Warren, they did not want to give up some of their power to Harbaugh because that's what Harbaugh wants. So take that for what it's worth. We know Jim's a winner. We also know he's a pain in the ass. I would love to see it happen, but I think that dream is as dead as it's ever been. Hit that subscribe button. We got Trizzy Trace in the building. You guys know Trizzy Trace. Rolly's on NBA duty tonight, so he's not in yet. We do have Chip in the other room as well, who you guys hung out with yesterday. Trace is ready to take down some beer bongs.
Hey, I got the Patron Zone is ready to roll. So let's get this thing going, Bears fans.
Let's get this thing going. Hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 85,000 ASAP. Can we get there before the first playoff game?
Come on.
this week, 4:40 away. If you want daily Bears coverage, we're going to have a deeper dive, my reaction into Luke Getsy and Andrew Janocko and Tyke Tolbert getting fired, Matt Eberflus staying. We'll dive into that in a minute. We'll take your questions as well. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We'll have a Luke Getsy replacements video that goes out either later today or first thing tomorrow. Lots to dive into, so if you don't want to miss out on any of it, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and we are going to have you covered. And Trace and I are going to do beer bong races for $50 Super Chats. $50 Super Chats. We'll do beer bong races. And from here on out, you know what? Shots for $10. Trace and I will alternate.
Let's go!
$10 shot. So there we go. $10 for shots. $50. We'll do a beer bong race. We'll catch up on some Super Chats, and then we'll dive into the news deeper here. Killen DeVillen says, take the North and never give it back, but keeps the head coach that can't win in the division. This really has me looking at polls in a different light. I think it's completely fair. I tweeted this last night. I think Ryan Poles, from a talent evaluator and roster building standpoint, is doing a really good job. But his seemingly over loyalty and love for Matt Eberflus, who, yes, has improved, it might sink him, man. It really might. Like, I was talking to the guys in the office a little bit ago. It's like, do you really have to settle for what's probably like the 20th best head coach in the NFL? Like, I don't think Flus is a bad coach, but like, there's better options out there right now. Like, I get Jim Harbaugh's a pain in the ass, but Mike Vrabel's out there. I know he's never done it before, but Ben Johnson, when you have the number one pick and in trying to get a revolutionary offense in here, whether it's with Fields or Caleb Williams or whoever, he's available. He's just sitting there. I don't get it, but, he's going to sink or swim with Flus, it seems, and I got to say, it's a bit surprising. It really, really is. Anthony Roberts, a first-time Super Chatter. Shout out to Anthony for donating to the program. We appreciate it, brother. We'll do 5 jumping jacks for first-timers today. 4, 5. Shout out to Anthony. We got Daniel as well. He says, big mistake keeping Flus. Eberflus vigorously inhales harder than Mia Khalifa. My goodness, Daniel. You had to go there, didn't you? Andrew, I think we blew it again. Elite coaches available. Why not restart QB with coach? I think this means Justin is back. I don't think it necessarily. Like, I still think drafting a QB is probably more likely. Like, I think Fields and Flus really have a good relationship, but you're going to have him learn a new offense in year 4 again. Like, I like Justin. I'm open to keeping Justin. I'm putting my mind in my headspace and the headspace of Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. Like, I think they're going to draft the quarterback, if I had to guess. Josh V says, any thoughts about Darrell Bevell as OC? Current Dolphins QB coach, pass game coordinator, was Russell Wilson's OC with the Seahawks. I think that's a notable name. He's probably someone we'll dive into when we take a deeper look at some offensive coordinator candidates. So I think that's a name worth pursuing, Josh, and I don't think you're necessarily completely off there. So, yeah, I think that's one I would definitely consider, Josh. So appreciate the super chat. Alex C., a first-timer, 3, 4, 5. He says, now Flus and Poles get fired next year. Poles will be a Super Bowl winning GM for someone else. Hate this organization. I don't know if you meant FGB. I assume you did. But, yeah, man, it's I don't know. It feels like a half measure to me. It feels like you had the opportunity to – and to me, it's not even like a huge reset. Like, the roster is ready to win next year. It's just getting the right coaching staff in here. So why not just do that all the way? I don't know. I don't love it. Fernie, Cliff Kingsbury, would you be mad at that hiring? No, I had him. I wrote him down too. Some other guys, Jim Caldwell, I know he's older, but he was a head coach finalist when they hired Flus 2 years ago. I think he's interesting. Clint Kubiak with the 49ers. That would be a similar system, by the way, to what you currently run. So there's guys. There's guys out there. Cliff Kingsbury is a good play caller, so I'd be open to that. Mike Witt, and by the way, Kingsbury is Caleb Williams' quarterback's coach at USC. So if you go Caleb Williams, then that could make some sense. Mike Witt, as a Packers fan, I wanted Flus as our new DC. Ugh. Hey, I will say this. Matt Eberflus is a better defensive play caller than Joe Barry. Or Joe Brady. Joe Barry. Joe Barry, because Joe Brady is the Bills OC. Yeah, Barry sucks, although the Bears didn't have much success against him. Nemoli X, Ryan Day is OC, what say you? I mean, is Ohio State firing their head coach? I don't think they're doing that right now, so I don't see that happening. NFL Mastermind, what these moves say to me is that Poles isn't blaming Fields, but blaming Getsy for the offensive failure. That's not true. I mean, he's not going to come out and say we're trading Justin Fields, but that doesn't mean he's not trading Justin Fields. I do think Getsy was the bigger problem. I would agree with that, but that would just be a guess, though, right? And look, I like Fields. I'm very much open to him being back and being the starter next year, but I still think they're going to draft a quarterback probably. John Cena, what's the phrase? I can't remember. It's an epic.
There's an awesome call. YouTube clip of a prank call.
Yeah, first time super chat from Mr. Cena. He's
to the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
his name's John Cena.
Because this is John Cena. Is it definitely sure Flus will stay on as head coach, or is it possible he'll move to DC and we get a new head coach? I have never thought that possibility.
Is Champ there?
Is Champ there? He's not taking a demotion to DC, man. Like, he's either the head coach or he's fired, and I think he's going to be the head coach. TJ Peck, I like how the Bears made change, but I have a lot of questions about Flus as well as Fields. I feel like this decision will end up deciding if Poles has a job in the next year or two. Yeah, I mean, it's a pivotal offseason, and this is the first move he's made, and the moves he makes this year will not only determine his fate, but determine the Bears' fate. And I tweeted this last night, I feel like next year is like year one of a Super Bowl window, and what I mean by that is year one of a Super Bowl window, you typically don't win it, right? I don't think the Bears are ready to win a Super Bowl next year, but I think that's when the window opens. This should be a playoff team next year. It should have been this year if they didn't choke 3 games away in the fourth quarter. So, next year maybe you're a playoff team that gets the divisional round, and then 2025 you're really ready to strike. But you got to have the right coaching, man. You got to have the right coaching. This is a shot for both Trace and I. So, shout out to TJ Peck for getting in there with the 20.
I'm sorry, Harrison. I'm just going straight out the bottle.
I get in trouble when I do that because then I end up taking doubles.
Yeah.
And
you got to be careful.
All of a sudden, it's getting blurry.
But hey, we're trying to get off the rails for this. It's kind of wild.
Listen, we're Trace and I are down to have a good time. So if you guys are with us, go ahead and join us. Anthony, what if the Bears were to trade down, get a haul, and also draft like a Jaden Daniels or Michael Penix and trade Fields? I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, I've seen that idea out there. Trade down, still take a QB in the top 10, and then also get a different receiver. So, yeah, you could go that route.
Harrison, would drafting Jaden Daniels not be similar to just redrafting Justin Fields in a sense?
It depends on what their evaluation is.
Yeah.
I think Fields is a better deep ball thrower and a better overall runner, but Daniels is a good runner, and Daniels is probably better at the quick passing game. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's mano-a-mano, but I also think Fields was a better prospect coming out than Daniels is. So, but Daniels has been rising, so it'll be interesting. Mike G saw a report that the Bears will try to sign Mike Evans. Thoughts? My thought is I haven't seen that. I'd be open to it. You pair him with DJ Moore. I really like the idea of drafting one of the top 3 guys in this draft, though, because then you have a true number 2 next to DJ for cheap on a rookie contract, but we'll see how that plays out. Parker S. Flus equals vibes guy. Let's trust Poles. Come on now. I'm not completely punting on my trust in Poles. I told you, I think as a talent evaluator and roster builder, he's done an excellent job. I get it. The locker room stayed together. They, it seems like they like playing for him, but what has inspired you when you watch Matt Eberflus coach that he's going to be able to lead this team to a Super Bowl? That's the question at the end of the day. Again, I think Flus is a decent-ish coach, maybe even a solid coach. But if you can upgrade as you start to enter this window of being able to compete at a high level, why would you not consider that? And maybe they did. I don't know. But, to me, it's like settling for a for like a Saturn when you've got a Charger available. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Saturn's going to get you from point A to point B, but you're probably never getting past the divisional round in a Saturn. Joey, first-time Super Chat, should the Bears make an effort to sign Chris Jones? I'd be open to it, Joey. It depends on how far along they think Gervon Dexter is, because if you sign Chris Jones, obviously he's starting. Maybe on a 1 or 2 year deal, you do that. I don't think it would be a long-term type of contract, but he is the best free agent available, so it'll be very interesting. Wasim Khan, who I got to take a shot for, he says, if Flus should have cleaned house, now keep Fields and trade down. If you're going to reset, should have had a hard reset. I agree, man. This is what the Bears do. They do these half measures. It's like, and look, maybe Poles sees something that I don't. Like, the vibes guy. I get it, and I've seen some of that, but like, I get the feeling almost that like he wants to be right about Flus. Like, this is the guy he signed off on. Like, he doesn't want to quit on it. But it's like, yeah, 2 years isn't a huge evaluation, especially when year one was kind of a throwaway year. But I would still argue, based on how the year played out, you underachieved this year. So I don't know, man. I haven't seen a ton that I like. Anthony Roberts with the 5. I would love Greg Roman. I would say we need consistency from the running backs, upgrade the RB room. I am growing to the idea of upgrading the running back room. I think the idea of signing Derrick Henry on a short-term deal makes a lot of sense, so I'm definitely open to that, Anthony. Eduardo, Brock Bowers developed really well on Madden. Yeah, Brock Bowers is going to be good, man. It's going to be good. Hunter Young, why not draft Caleb, not trade Justin, and let the best QB start, trade the other? Because you're not going to draft Caleb and then trade him. Now, if you want to say we're going to draft Caleb Williams and sit him for a year behind Justin, I guess, but like, does Justin want to do that? I mean, I guess he wouldn't have a choice. He's under contract, but people keep comparing it to the Alex Smith-Mahomes situation. It's not the same. Alex Smith was like a 10-year vet at that point that was not going to be, didn't have a chance to be the long-term QB in KC moving forward. Justin Fields, while it's probably more likely he would not be the long-term QB, he's 24, man. If you draft Caleb Williams, he might demand a trade and say, hey, man, and not in a hard feelings way, just like, hey, y'all got y'all's guy, like, trade me somewhere I can start. So I don't think that makes sense, Hunter. BBBB, bear down. This one's going to be Trace. There he goes. The way I see it, the Bears have 2 options. Draft a QB that fits the new OC scheme like a glove, or hire an OC that fully unlocks Justin's potential. If they do anything else, I will lose my mind. Yeah, I mean, I do think the OC hire will be very telling. It'll be very telling. You know, it'll show what they think about Justin, I would say. Like, if it's an offense that isn't known for embracing some QB run, then I would guess that he's almost certainly not going to be the guy. So, we'll see. We'll see. By the way, the Bears blog is pretty convinced that the Bears are going to draft Caleb Williams. So, we'll see what happens in that regard. Getsy couldn't call anything but screen passes. We had to trade for Claypool. Shit-ass Claypool, because Justin Fields had no receivers to throw to for 2 years. Let's get an OC and weapons in here. And what else does he say here? Trying to find the end of this, NRG. And let's go. Yeah, I mean, look, again, I am open to that. If I had to guess, I think they'll draft a quarterback. Just a guess, though. Cheers. Floyd Anderson, DJ Moore told you that Fields was staying and Getsy was getting fired in so many words in his interview. Yeah, I mean, people put that together, but look, DJ Moore, yes, they have player exit interviews, and guys of that stature are allowed to make their case and give their thoughts on things, but the Bears are not going to run their team based on what DJ Moore wants. Like, they're just not going to. So, I would like Justin to stay, but I'm not convinced he is. Agent Chartreuse, wish I could be taking shots right now. Another year of disappointment coming under the tutelage of Matt Eberflus. Ebergoof, nice.
So, Harry, I don't know if you saw real quick. We have 1,700 people in the chat.
Hit that like button.
Yeah, we only have 251 likes. That's unacceptable. We got to get those likes up.
Like and subscribe.
And
Let's
don't
go.
forget to sub. Don't forget to sub.
Hit that like button if you're glad Luke Getsy's gone. Regardless of your thoughts on Matt Eberflus. Getsy had to go. That was obvious. So at least that has happened. All right, Captain Salty, new OC means more excuses for busting. Maybe. Which is why, honestly, I think they'll draft a quarterback. I do. Michael with the 10. We'll hand this one off to Trace on the shot. He says, I think they give Justin fifth year, draft a quarterback in the second, third round to sit behind him and compete. JF was one more shot under a new system designed around him to prove himself. Your thoughts? I mean, it's possible. Not many quarterbacks on a rookie deal who have been up and down like Justin has gets a shot with a third play caller. It's just very unlikely. So you could go that route. Maybe you take like a Bo Nix in the second round or something like that. But I'm not that high on Nix, if I'm being honest. I don't like J.J. McCarthy. So yeah, I'm not that. I just don't think that idea.
But Harrison, J.J. McCarthy, and Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think the Harbaugh thing is unfortunately dead. Welke, 0 chance Bears trade down and draft a QB in round 1. I do kind of think, if they take a QB, you have the number 1 pick. Don't overthink it. If you want to draft a quarterback, just take one. If you don't, then trade down. It's kind of that simple to me. Julius Thompson with the 5. Hopefully the Bears learned a lesson. Never hire ya. Oops, no matter who the QB is, Lambo leaping, Getsy had to go. Yeah, Getsy had to go. That's the point. And if you're just joining us, Luke Getsy fired, quarterbacks coach Andrew Janocko fired, so is wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert. Matt Eberflus expected to return. We haven't heard an official statement from the team as of filming this, but that is the reporting coming in from Adam Schefter and others. Julius Thompson, did we order? We did answer that one. Thank you, Julius. Rusty now. If they underachieved at 7 and 9, what did you have them at in the beginning of the year? Let's see how unqualified you really are. Well, they went to 7 and 10. I had them at 10 and 7, and they blew 3 10-plus point fourth quarter leads, which they had a 91% chance to win one of those and a 99% chance to win the other 2. So if they didn't have 3 colossal meltdowns, I was actually right on the money. I also said that 7 to 10 would be the range. Now my exact one was 10 and 7. Or actually, no, I had 9 and 8. I was 9 and 8. So really, if they just win 2 of those 3, I'm right on the money. So, listen, Rusty, you can have your opinion, but if you think your qualifications are stronger, no one's stopping you from starting your own show. Glenn Miller with the 50. Like you said, Harrison, this should have been a playoff team. He has the locker room and belief of the players. Get the offense on track, and we should be good to go. And then it says, yeah, coordinator is now the biggest decision. Can't get it wrong, FGB. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're keeping Flus, you have to nail the OC now. You cannot miss again. Which, again, Flus hired Getsy, and he missed. So you got to get someone that is not going to miss. So we'll see what happens, Glenn. That's one beer bong race, Trace and I.O. Juke Skywalker, here's another shot for me. He says Chicago's the city where careers go to die and busts become superstars when they leave. Sorry, not sorry. Green Bay and FGB, by the way, always own us. Lick on love for late hits on Justin Fields in week 1 and 18. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Justin Fields, cheers, did not get a single roughing call, single late hit call, single personal foul called against him this year in a league that goes over the top of protecting quarterbacks is a fucking joke. I mean, it really is. Corey Smith, this will be Trace's. The Bears must have a viable passing OC. We need to see Justin Fields throw the ball 30 to 40 times a game. The Bears must move into the modern NFL. Great pocket awareness with wheels to match. I don't know if I view Justin Fields as a guy that you want to drop back 35, 40 times. I do think you need to build a better passing offense for him if you do keep him. So we'll see if they go that route. Alex, yay for a lame duck coach with a new QB again, LOL. Exactly. Like, if you draft a quarterback and fire the coach a year from now, you've just done the same thing 3 different regimes in a row. Like, it sounds crazy, but if you keep Flus and draft a quarterback, you almost have to give it 2 years, which would suck if we're midway through next year and we're like, see, we told you Flus wasn't the guy. But, like, you almost would have to give that more time because then you're just back to where you were 2 years ago. Young Nile, not Nike. Now with them keeping Flus, you can't pair him with the lame duck coaching staff. It'll be Nagy Fields all over again. No alignment once again. Exactly. We were just touching on that. Muhammad with the 10. This one's me. He says, I think everyone is wondering if Fields can lead us to the promised land, but I don't know about Flus. Vrabel is winning games with Tannehill. Just don't see how we don't grab him. Well, I think Vrabel is a tricky one, to be fair. Now, I would absolutely take Vrabel in a heartbeat, and I'd love to have him, but I do think that if New England moves on from Belichick, he's going there and no other team would be able to get him. So, but it's a great point, Mohammed. If Mike Vrabel can go to the AFC Championship with Ryan Tannehill, can get the number 1 seed in the AFC with Ryan Tannehill, why would you not strive for a more proven and better head coaching option than Flus? Cheers. Devin J. Reed, how long before you think we find out the new OC? I would say, probably in the next week or 2. I mean, they'll interview some candidates, bring some guys in, and ultimately make a decision. Glenn Miller, this will be our second race. Appreciate the 50, man. He says, I believe if they were going to reset at quarterback, they would start with the new head coach. I think the haul of picks to trade is worth more to polls. If we get another first round next year, then I don't know what options. Give some options if it doesn't work, just my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an here's what it comes down to, Glenn. How does Ryan Poles feel about Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, etc.? If he loves one of them, he's going to draft them. If not, then he's probably going to do what you say. Trade down, load up on picks again, see how it goes this year with Justin, and if it doesn't take a big enough leap in year 4, then he'll make a change next year. Mark Ortiz, I really hope they get rid of this shit coach. It would be, at this point, a surprise if they fired Flus because, and this one's going to be Trace's as well, as we're alternating here. But are you going to fire the OC and then a day or 2 later fire the head coach? Like, it just doesn't work that way. Like, I've never seen the order of operations go that way. Aaron Wolf, does this mean Fields is gone now? A lot of people asking. I would lean probably, but I don't think we know for sure. David Knezovich, wish we could get a proven head coach onto the team. No more Trustmans, Nagys, etc. When can we get long-term stabilization at the top? Fair question, David. I don't know. Again, I like Ryan Poles as a roster builder and talent evaluator, but his love for Matt Eberflus is pretty shocking. And by the way, I think Kevin Warren's impact and involvement in this is way more diminished than we thought it would be. Like, I kind of thought he'd probably have a heavier hand here. And look, maybe he was heavily involved in this. I don't know, but kind of feels like it was just like, all right, we're going to reset the offense and keep Flus, which is kind of the bare minimum of what you needed to do. Quan Tyre with a first-time super chat. Appreciate it, Quan. 3, 4, 5. We got Augusta. He says, do you think, is this a first-time or 2? He says, do you think the Bears will draft Jared Verse at 9? I think they could. I think at 9, Augusta, depending on what they do at 1, whether it's QB or trade down, whatever, I think guys in that range are like that second crop of receivers. Maybe Malik Neighbors falls there. Maybe Roma Dunze. I think the edges are in range there. Latu, Verse, Dallas Turner. So I think, one of those type of players could be in play. Brock Bowers, perhaps. Nick Pippinger says, what are some DC candidates? I don't think it'll be anyone notable, Nick, because I expect Flus to still call the plays. So that is what I would think. But I don't think it would be some massive decision. Drink with me. Cheers. History repeats itself again. Yeah, it's a bummer, man. All right, we're going to hit a few more, and then we're going to get into the news. And as more super chats come in, we'll get to those after. We'll also do the beer bong races after the news cut as well, so stay tuned. Rusty says, your thoughts You thought a $100 million team under the cap was going to the playoffs. What are you smoking? Dude, they blew 3 games that they should have won. Not like could have won, which, by the way, there were like 3 other games they could have won. They could have beaten the Saints if Tyson Bagent didn't throw 4 picks in that game. They could have beaten the Vikings the first time. They could have beaten Detroit's not included because that's in the 3 meltdowns. There was another game as well. There was only 3 games out of their 10 losses where they basically had no chance. Oh, Tampa was the other one. They could have beaten Tampa. But they legitimately melted down against Denver, Detroit the first time, and Cleveland. And if you win 2 of those, you're in the playoffs. Rick says, how many teams in history would drop down from the number 1 pick 2 years in a row with a bottom-tier QB at the helm, especially with Caleb Williams available? Well, that's a point I've made too, not necessarily the bottom-tier QB, because I think Fields is better than bottom tier. I think he's middle of the pack. I've said it. I think he's 15th to 20th best quarterback in this league. I think he's a starter. But that aside, how many GMs who have not drafted a quarterback yet for that team would get the number 1 pick 2 years in a row and still not draft one at number 1? Seems pretty unlikely, but we'll see. Ryan Poles has preached roster building. He might value the assets. Lovie Smith is the only MVP on this team. Shout out Lovie for getting the rebuild started last year by beating the Colts and getting the Bears' number 1 pick. That was big, man. Aiden Olson, who are the offseason doesn't end today, keep trusting Poles. Yeah, I mean, the offseason starts today, Aiden. So, we'll see where it goes from here. Aaron Wolf, who are the best offensive coordinators available? We ripped off some names earlier, Aaron. I'll just run through a few again that I think could make sense. Eric Bieniemy, Kellen Moore, Frank Reich, Ken Dorsey, Greg Roman, Cliff Kingsbury, Frank Smith, Clint Kubiak, Jim Caldwell, Darrell Bevel. That's 10 names off the rip that I think could be in play here. Isaiah Harris, remember we only have the number 1 pick because the Panthers not our season this year. We are in a rebuild, so let's get the haul for the pick. Make the whole team better. This is a team sport, not just one guy. I agree, Isaiah, but if a GM, I'll take a shot for this one, if Poles loves one of these quarterbacks, I'd be surprised if he didn't take him. So, we'll see. Yeah, we'll hit these 2, then we'll go. We'll cut it off at Ramsey T, and then any more that come in after him, we will hit afterwards. Peter K, you want to take 2 for Peter here? He says, if we don't come out of the first round with one of the O-line, man, it's a fail. We need a left tackle and a center. I don't think they need a left tackle. Braxton Jones isn't an all-pro, but he's more than serviceable. He's a starter. Now, if you wanted to upgrade, if you think Joe Alt or Olu Fashanu is a clear upgrade, I'm cool with that, but I don't think you have to go that route. You absolutely need a center, though. There is no doubt about that. Captain Salty, what time is it there? 9:30. Drink up. 10:30, 10:40 now. But it's me and Trace are getting after it. Should have had some mimosas prepared. We would have been flowing here. Ramsey T, I'll go 2 for this, and then we're gonna get into the cut. He says Poles putting his job on the line with Flus rather than trying to get a clear upgrade at head coach. I agree. Also, does this indicate that Justin Fields is gone, or do they want him to learn another offense in 4 seasons? Yeah, we've dove into most of that already, but that's why I think they probably will draft a quarterback. Like, are they going to have him learn a 3rd offense in 4 years? Maybe. It doesn't seem likely, but I guess we'll see. All right, Quan, real quick. Trade Justin, 9th pick for Patriots. 3rd, take 1st, Caleb, and 3rd, MHJ. That's an interesting idea, to be honest. I don't know if New England would do it, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, a couple more have come in. We will get to those, but we got to get into the news here. If you want the Bears to crush the offseason, like the video. We appreciate it. 1,800 people watching live. That is awesome. Before 11 o'clock Central Time here on a Wednesday. So Luke Getsy has been relieved of his duties. I'm going to make sure there's no new updates on Twitter. And then we are going to go again. If you super chat, we will get to all those. Trace and I owe a couple of beer bong races too. Lots to come. Don't go anywhere. Bears Now just getting started here on Wednesday. The Chicago Bears have fired offensive coordinator Luke Getsy after 2 seasons with the team. Welcome into Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We get to this breaking news here on a Wednesday morning. Getsy is out. Do want to also mention that as of filming, quarterbacks coach Andrew Janocko has also been fired, as has wide receivers coach and pass game coordinator Tyke Tolbert. And Matt Eberflus likely to return. We'll dive into that as well. This was minimum change required. That's my first reaction and analysis to this news today. There was just no way, based on how this season played out, which had some success as a team overall, 7-10 from 3-14 the year before. It's definitely an improvement, but there wasn't enough improvement to just simply run it back with all of the guys in key positions, head coach, OC, quarterback, etc. At least one thing had to change. And based on the news this morning, it certainly appears that scrapping the offensive staff is the solution that Ryan Poles has decided to go with here. So let me know what you guys think. What is your one-word reaction to Luke Getsy being fired? Just one word. If you had to pick one word, what is your one-word reaction to Getsy hitting the road? And be sure to subscribe to Chicago Bears Now. We're hitting you guys with daily Bears videos, news, rumors, and more. We're live right now breaking down this news, which is why you should subscribe. We're trying to get to 85,000 subs. How sick would that be? Help us out. We're trying to grow here. Daily coverage around your Chicago Bears. You're not going to find more volume of content, more quality content anywhere else. News, rumors, OC search. We'll have a fresh batch of Luke Getsy replacements coming up probably later today. So subscribe right now. We have got you covered. Why this was necessary. Justin Fields was not developing rapidly enough under Luke Getsy. Regardless of Fields or a rookie quarterback moving forward, you need a new voice and a new direction to lead the offense. That's just how I feel. Then Fields is what I almost said, how I feel. And look, I don't think Justin Fields is necessarily like blameless. Like, he deserves criticism as well. I don't think he's played awesome by any means. I think he improved this year. Having the thumb fracture definitely was a bummer because he was starting to play really well. Came back, did some good things. All in all, another uneven season for him. I think he did better taking care of the football this year overall. But again, like, Getsy was here for 2 years. I mean, he was hired to unlock Fields in this offense. And while there were some small improvements overall, not nearly enough. I mean, you look at some key metrics here. Total yards per game, 20th. It's okay. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great. Scoring 18th. Again, not bad, but not great. Passing, just got to be better. That's really what stands out. And again, some of that's on Fields. Third down percentage, decent, 41%. It's 12. Red zone, pretty decent as well, top half, but they didn't get to the red zone enough. So, like, it's kind of a skewed stat, right? Like, if you're getting to the red zone, the 20th most in the NFL and your top half, like, that's great. You're taking advantage when you do get there, but you're also not getting there a lot. And by the way, when you have a quarterback like Justin Fields who can run the way he does, you should be top 10 in red zone every year because it's such an extra weapon down there when the windows do get tight. So at the end of the day, like, at minimum, Luke Getsy just didn't do enough to earn his keep here in Chicago. And just from an X's and O's standpoint too, like, I always have said this about Getsy. His scripts, his plan A's are pretty good. A lot of the time under Getsy, they would go down and score on the opening drive. But you get out of that script, these defenses settle into these games. He struggles to find solutions after plan A. It happened over and over and over again, and especially in divisional games, especially against quality opponents like Green Bay on Sunday. I mean, he just could not figure out what to do. Inconsistent usage and development of Fields. Like, both years he had him, he didn't embrace his running until well after the first month of the season, so it's almost too late into the year. Like, if Justin Fields is your quarterback, you have to embrace him as a runner. Like, it does not take a genius to know that. Like, it's like Lamar Jackson, who is obviously a lot better than Justin Fields at this point, but if he's your quarterback, you have to run him. Like, that is a big part of what makes him successful, and that is obviously the way with Fields as well. And this year, after you did start to unlock him a bit last year as a runner, the first month you didn't use him as a runner at all. The bottom line is the offense isn't good enough. This is not an offense that you can be a consistent playoff team with, so they're making a change, and that is just how this goes in this league. And Luke Getsy's out. We'll see what happens next. I would imagine a few more assistant coaches on the offensive side go, and then we will see who could replace him. All right, coming up, we'll dive into Matt Eberflus's future, as it does sound like he is going to be back as of filming. Again, that is not official, but that is certainly the heavy indication here. But we are sponsored by Mando. You don't want to be stinky in 2024. Mando's going to get you back on track. You guys have heard the phrase, new year, new me. Well, this year, it's new year, no stink. Today's show is sponsored by Mando, from the makers of Lume Deodorant. Mando is here to make sure this year you showcase your best hygiene. If you suffer from stinky feet, armpits, or even smell below the belt, then Mando is for you, as the Mando doctor developed a clinically proven odor blocker. By the way, new customers, use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Going to get you $5 off. The Mando starter pack includes a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like body wash and deodorant wipes. Plus, you get free shipping with that code CHAT as well. So don't be the smelly guy in the car when you're traveling. Don't be the smelly guy at the gym either. Ditch that stink and get going with Mando today. Go to shopmando.com. Use code CHAT to get $5 off. It's shopmando.com. Use code CHAT, $5 off, which, by the way, is 40% off the entire pack there. Best value available. Link is in the comments and in the description, as is the promo code. Appreciate Mando for sponsoring today's show. Again, Flus is going to return. It's not officially official, but Adam Schefter says with these moves, the heavy expectation is that Matt Eberflus will get a 3rd season. This was the tweet Schefter fired off, saying, after extensive meetings Monday and Tuesday, certainly were extensive. It was silent for a couple of days. Bears are not making a head coaching change, and Matt Eberflus officially is expected to return for 2024 per league sources. Now, let me be clear. I would have fired Flus too. Now, I think he showed more growth as the head coach than Luke Getsy did as the offensive coordinator, but I'm going to outline why I don't think it was necessarily enough growth to be hesitant to go in a different direction. You look at his tenure here. He's 10-24. I get it. Year one, it was a complete roster teardown. You were not going to win a lot of games. You went 3-14 that year, but you went 0-6 in the division that year. There were still some games you could have won. This year, 7-10, I would still argue is an underachievement. You're 2-10 against the NFC North, 0-4 against Green Bay, none of which have been close, by the way. 4 blown 10-point fourth-quarter leads, 3 of which were this year, and if you won 2 of them this year that you should have, 2 of them you had a 99% chance of winning according to advanced analytics, you'd probably be a playoff team. And this last one, when I really took a deep dive into the schedule the last 2 years, stands out. 2 wins over teams that have gone above 500 in 2 years. One of those, we'll get to the quarterbacks in a second, was his first ever game against the 49ers in Trey Lance, who's now a 3rd-string quarterback, and then the Detroit win this year. Other than that, every other team he's beaten has finished below 500 in his 2 seasons. And look at the quarterbacks he's beaten, right? Because what do people say? Well, Flus has really turned this defense around. It's elite. I don't think it's elite. I think it's a good defense. I think it could be elite. It's definitely trending in the right direction. He's got credit. He gets credit for that. But look at who he's beaten slinging the football. Trey Lance, who we mentioned. He's a 3rd-string quarterback in Dallas now. Davis Mills, 3rd-string quarterback in Houston. Case Keenum's the backup. Mac Jones, he became the backup this year and was a disaster. Sam Howell was horrific, especially the second half of this year. Brian Hoyer, he should be selling insurance. He's been the Raiders' 3rd-string quarterback all year. Bryce Young, yeah, he's a starter. He's a rookie. He's got talent. Anybody watch Bryce Young this year? He wasn't good. Josh Dobbs, and not when he was playing well. He had 4 turnovers in that game. Not good. Jared Goff, quality quarterback. Kyler Murray, quality quarterback, but really bad team in Arizona. And then Taylor Heineke, who sucks. So the point is, yes, there's been improvement. Yes, Matt Eberflus deserves credit for keeping this locker room together. Yes, the defense is trending up. But in the big games against good teams, this defense has gotten beaten up. We saw it against Green Bay in Week 18. So let's not overvalue the improvement from Matt Eberflus. And, oh, by the way, these things happened as well. 2 failed coordinator hires. You just fired Luke Getsy, and Alan Williams didn't even basically get to year 2 because he had to resign due to an HR violation, which is also what happened to running backs coach David Walker in the middle of this year. 2 suspicious exits from coaches due to HR violations. And then, oh, by the way, let's not forget the Chase Claypool media debacle when after the game he was asked, hey, was Chase Claypool asked to stay home or did he do it on his own? He literally did not seem to know. How does the head coach not know? And then their PR person had to come out and said, oh, no, he misspoke. Claypool was asked to stay home. How is that possible? You're the head coach. You're supposed to be the leader. And again, two things can be true. There's been some improvement. He kept the locker room together, but the Bears underwhelmed in a lot of ways in 2023. I know they won 4 more games this year than last year, but again, other than Detroit, who did they beat that's actually worth a shit? I'll wait. Nobody. They didn't do that much other than beat up on some bad opponents. So, listen, I'm not saying Flus can't coach at all. I think this team can still be a playoff team next year if they get the OC hire right and, have a convicted decision at quarterback. But, why settle for the 20th best head coach? That's kind of how I look at this. So, that's where I'm at. They're going to keep him. We'll see how it plays out. And by the way, if you draft the quarterback and underachieve next year, you're doing what you've done the last 2 cycles. Draft Mitch Trubisky, make a coaching change for a coach who doesn't really want him. Draft Justin Fields, make a coaching change, reset the roster. Draft Caleb Williams, Drake May, whoever. If you fire this coach, then he's stuck with the new offense in year 2. You don't have to go this route, but it certainly appears that they're going to. Now, would you have fired Matt Eberflus? I absolutely would have. Type Y for yes, or you can type N for no. And again, maybe that's not fair, but I just want to line up the quarterback and head coach for once, but that is not what they're choosing to do. At least it doesn't seem like it. All right, hit that subscribe button again. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Getsy, some other offensive staff members are out. I'm sure there will be more news that drops. We'll also dive into some Luke Getsy replacements later in the week, or later in the day probably. So subscribe, turn on the notifications so you don't miss a video. All right. You can let them know that's into the cut. Quan Tire, trade Justin and the 9th pick for the Patriots' 3rd overall pick. Take Caleb at 1 and MHJ at 3. That's an interesting idea. Would the Patriots go from 3 to 9 to get Justin Fields? Does that value line up? Maybe. 3 to 9 is still a fairly steep drop, but they could get Fields and then maybe draft Neighbors or Odunze at 9. So I don't think it's completely impossible, Quan. But it would surprise me a bit. Tony Williams, Ken Dorsey makes sense, not a first-time QB coach. Yeah, he would be high on my list. And I know that Buffalo has gotten hot here without him, but the offense was still moving the ball at a high level with them. They were just blowing games, kind of similar to the Bears, but as a way better team. And Josh Allen kept turning it over in key moments, which he's still done, by the way. They've just found a way to win these games. I like Ken Dorsey. I think he's a good play caller. Yeah, we can. Let's do this. We got a lot of Super Chats lined up. Use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions in on the show. Before we get to our mailbag, Trace, you want to knock out these beer bongs, and then we'll answer some questions. Keep the Super Chats, keep the questions flowing here, and we're down to stay live for a while. Still have 1,700 people hanging out. We'll cycle back to the news. If any more news comes in, we'll cover that as well. So, a couple of beer bong races here. Trace is ready to go. Trace is ready to go. Here we go.
Hey, like the video. Like the video if you're ready for Getsy to be out of town.
Hit that like button. Let's go. Hit that like button. Appreciate everybody liking the video, subscribing. We're trying to get to 85,000 subs. Do it for Cole Kmet, number 85.
Let's go, Cole.
One of the best players on the team this year. All right, you guys know the drill. Type T for Trace, H for Harrison. I'm going to count us down from 3, and on go, we can start. So, first of 2 races, $50 Super Chat gets you a race. So, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Round it back up. Run it back. I need redemption. Trace is not as far removed from college as I am. He went to the Harvard of Arkansas. Does anyone know what the Harvard of Arkansas is?
They call it the Yale of the Ozarks.
The Yale of the Ozarks. How far is Fayetteville from the Ozarks? A couple hours? Oh, really?
It's like right on
That's sick. I've never been to Fayetteville. You got to get me to a game.
4.5 hours.
You got to get me to a game
I'm
out.
going in March. We'll go
Dude,
baseball
I
game.
really wanted to go
Baseball game.
when TCU played Arkansas in Fayetteville. I really wanted to go. That was a whiff on my part. All right, we're running it back. You count us down this time. 3, 2, 1, go. And then we'll go. H for Harrison, T for Trace. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So it's going to take a 50 to break the tie. Take a 50 to break the tie. All right. We're going to dive into a mailbag video. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Start firing away here. And we'll see. Yeah. Here we go. Just hit, once you get to like 5 or 6 minutes, and you can pick a couple other weigh-ins that are already in there. You could do the Fields one. You could do the should they have fired Flus, and then the Fields one. Those are probably 2 good ones. Yeah. Get a sub in there at some point as well. All right, here we go. Mailbag time. Fire away here. We'll answer as many as we can. Bear down, baby. That's fine. We kick off this mailbag video after Luke Getsy has been fired here on a Wednesday. Quantive, says, trade Justin in the 9th pick for Patriots 3rd. Take Caleb Williams 1 and Marvin Harrison at 3. I'll tell you what, if you're hell-bent on moving on from Fields and taking Caleb Williams, this is not a bad idea if New England would do it, because they move down 6 spots. They get their quarterback. They could still draft the Dunze or Neighbors at 9 if they wanted to, or one of those offensive tackles. And then the Bears could double it with Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. You got DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. If you're going to move on from Fields, I actually don't hate this idea. David Holloway, a first-time Super Chat, he says, hashtag JF1 forever. Yeah, man, look, I'm cool keeping Justin. I'm always going to love Justin. He has handled being this team's quarterback very well from a mental standpoint, and he's given us a lot of memories on the field as well. I think if the structure of this franchise was better while he was here, he would have had more success, and maybe he gets another chance to do that. We'll have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, we don't know just yet what the future is going to hold. So appreciate the Super Chat from David Holloway. Speaking of Justin Fields, what do you guys think? Will Justin Fields be on this team next year? Type Y for yes, he will. Type N for no, he won't. Pin comment on today's video. Will Justin Fields be on this team next year? Will with the $5. He says, just because Getsy got fired today doesn't mean the Bears aren't doing their due diligence to upgrade the head coach. Position the playoffs haven't started. Yeah, maybe. It's possible, Will. I'm not, sitting here and saying definitively, but when Adam Schefter says Matt Eberflus is officially expected to return, he kind of left the door open. He said expected, so maybe there's some 3% chance where they have one candidate or someone that they like, and if they feel like they can get him, they would make a change. But I don't get the sense that's the case here, Will. WM, Vikings and Packers had many of their best players out injured most of the season and still finished above the Bears from playoff contention. I mean, the Bears and Vikings had the same record. But again, WM, it's kind of twofold. One, you're right. It shows they still have ways to go. Two, if they just were able to close games better, they would have been a 9-10 win team. It was right there for them, and they blew it against Denver, Detroit, and Cleveland. Vincent Burns, the Bears are making the same mistake when they drafted Fields. A Mitch coaching staff had 1 year leash, and they will likely be let go year 1 into Caleb Williams' rookie year. Should they draft, what's the end of that? Draft Caleb? If they are convinced Caleb Williams is going to be a top 10 quarterback in this league, then they should draft him. If they're not, then they shouldn't. Because I've said it, I think you have a current top 20 quarterback that still could get into the top 12, maybe top 10 if things go right. But if they think Caleb Williams is a surefire top 10 quarterback in this league, maybe not year 1, but by year 2 and beyond, then they should draft him. NRG bro, if Caleb does get drafted and sucks, it will be a disaster for everyone considering most of the fan base wanted to keep Justin Fields. He will be booed out of the stadium and eviscerated by media. It's a great point, and I've made that point. Like, it's not just about the on-the-field product either. Like, if you go Caleb Williams, you have to sit him down and ask him before you make that decision. Say, Caleb, look, this fan base loves Fields. They're literally chanting, we want Fields in his final home game. They're putting up signs outside of our practice facility saying to keep Fields and not trade him. The locker room is all going public saying we want to keep the current quarterback. Can you handle that? Do you feel like you can win the locker room in this city over? If there's any hesitation in his eye, then you may not be able to draft that player. So those are questions that Poles and Flus and whoever the OC is has to be able to sit down Caleb Williams and get a feel for his mentality. Like, can he handle that? And if he can, and if you think he could be a top 5, top 10 quarterback, then that's a move you're probably going to make. Alex Amberling, have to extend Flus now. We'll see, man. I don't know what's going to happen contractually with Flus. So, yeah, I've said it earlier. If you draft a quarterback, I almost think you have to give Flus at least 2 years because I don't want to go down the road of drafting a quarterback, dumping his coaching staff 1 year in. We've been down that road. It doesn't end well. Change that option. Subscribe to the channel as well. We're almost at 85,000 subscribers as we film this live here. We're 408 away. Can we get more subs? Get that number up. Sub for Bears Dubs, baby. Trying to have a big offseason here. We're bringing you videos every single day. News, rumors, coaching, news and rumors as well. Draft, free agency, lots of moves to be made. So be sure to subscribe. Also, Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app. NFL playoffs getting going this weekend. And if you want to put your money where your mouth is, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. Here's a 4-player entry that I've got. Joe Flacco, he's been cooking. Give me the more on his passing yards. It's going to be disgusting weather at Arrowhead Stadium, so I'll take the less on Patrick Mahomes. Mike Evans, I think he has a big day against a bad Eagles team. And then Najee Harris, I think the Bills are going to make a focus to slow down the run and make Mason Rudolph beat him. That's 10 to win 100 on a 4-player entry. You can win up to 25 times your money with the 6-player entry. You can cross over sports. It doesn't have to be all within the same sport, same game. It can be different games, different sports. 2 to 6 players. Take the more or less on the stat projections, which there are tons available. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS. All right, Batchy Brown, I'm probably mispronouncing that. I apologize. Getsy spent the entire offseason trying to turn Fields into Aaron instead of sharpening Fields' skills. Yeah, I mean, that's why Fields came out early in the year and he said, I feel like I'm playing robotic. Like, they tried to make him this timing rhythm passer when he's not Rodgers. Like, I know Getsy came from a staff that coached Aaron Rodgers, but good coaches adapt to their players. And that's why Getsy isn't here. He didn't do a good enough job of that. First timer from Fry, is there a scenario where you draft Caleb and keep Justin? I guess. I don't really think so, but I suppose it is possible. I can't imagine Justin Fields and his camp would like that at all. I think they would rather just start over with the new teams, but I guess it's possible. We'll see what happens. Alex Ammerling, I think Flus staying means Justin stays. Be a lot of rumors. We're going to cover it all. Kyle Smith, you've mentioned this before, but I'm concerned about Caleb Williams' mental stability coming to Chicago and being able to handle harsh truths. Yeah, I think this is what I mentioned a few minutes ago, Kyle. Like, can he handle this city? Like, you look at the history of this team. Like, quarterbacks have not had success here, and I think a lot of it is just within the building. They have not developed quarterbacks properly, but I think a lot of it too is this is a fan base starving for offensive success. This is a city right now that loves the current quarterback. Teammates love Justin Fields. So, yeah, they'll get over that, but the new guy also has to do his part in winning them over. Can Caleb Williams do that? I don't know. I've never met Caleb Williams. I don't have a good feel for what it's like in between here for him, and that's going to be critical for any quarterback coming in here. Ray, he says, how could you fire a coach that had nothing to work with last year, won 4 more games this year? How can you truly evaluate him? This is his truly 1-year start. I mean, I said 2022 is mostly a wash, Ray, but there were still games they blew that year. They still went 0-6. By the way, year 2, he went 2-4 in the division and could have won 2 more, didn't. Like, at some point, like, it's got to be more than what it is. And, look, maybe you're right. Maybe this is a team that's going to make some jump and win 11, 12 games next year. That would be awesome. I would love nothing more than to come on this show and do a whole video apologizing to Matt Eberflus. Believe me. But I just don't have the feeling, and a lot of it's gut feeling, that this is a guy that can win a Super Bowl. Like, that's how I feel. I think you can be a playoff team with Flus. I think the roster is good enough where a couple more additions this offseason, you're a playoff team next year. Do you see him in these big games in the playoffs against these other established teams and coaches being an X factor for this team to get them over the top and make a run? I don't feel that way right now. Codilla Gaming, Cubs fire Ross and upgrade to a better option in council. The Bears should do the same, move on from mid-head coach when there's better options out there. It's kind of my point. Like, a lot of this isn't even about Matt Eberflus. It's about other guys being available. I get why they're not going to hire Jim Harbaugh. He's a bit of a pain in the ass. I would still do it, but I get why they're not going to. Mike Vrabel's out there. I know Ben Johnson's never been a head coach. He's out there. Say what you want about Dan Quinn, his finish in Atlanta. He's much more proven. Like, there's guys that I think are better options. And whether the Bears agree or not, that's obviously their call. Should the Bears have fired Matt Eberflus? Type Y for yes, or type N for no. Clearly, you guys could tell. I think the answer is yes, but they did not, at least as of now. Maurice Davis, keep Fields, trade down from 1 to 2 or 3, draft Marvin Harrison, Brock Bauer, sign Josh Jacobs or King Henry, run the ball, double tight end formation, play action, move the puck, get Justin Fields on the move, yada, yada. That all sounds good. I'm cool with Jacobs or Henry upgrading at running back. I'm cool with getting Marvin Harrison and Brock Bowers. It's a loaded offense, man. Loaded offense. Isaac Gonzalez, what are your most likely trade down partners for number 1 pick, and what could those packages look like in your opinion? I did a video like with 2 or 3 weeks left in the regular season about trading down for number 1 with some different trade packages, so go check that out. I'll do another one at some point, probably in the next week or 2. Obviously, a lot of the upcoming videos are going to be, Fields focused, coaching staff focused, Caleb Williams, but we'll get to a segment, Isaac, at some point soon, and appreciate the first-time super chat. Tybee says, Matt Eberflus not getting fired is the worst birthday gift. Well, hey, get the HBDs in the chat for Tybee right now. If you're watching live, HBD. If you're watching just on a normal video, type it in the comments as well. Happy birthday, and I'm sorry you didn't get your wish of Matt Eberflus getting canned. I would have liked to see that as well. Stephen Parkinson, if this new OC is good, he'll be hunted for a head coach job somewhere in 2 years. What then? Do we fire Flus and promote the OC? No point in keeping Flus now. It's another great point. It's like, it feels so obvious to me. Scrap the coaching staff. Get a guy you like that you think could be a coach here for 10 years. Ideally offensive, but I would take Mike Vrabel too. And then if you want to draft Caleb Williams or keep Justin Fields, whatever it is, do that and let's roll. Because you draft Caleb Williams and ball out in year 1, whoever the OC is probably getting a head coaching job. So, I don't know, man. That's why a lot of teams like leaning offense over defense, because good offensive coordinators get head coaching jobs. Sam Laktara, they're waiting to hear from Harbaugh or to do a formal interview with Mike Vrabel before deciding on Eberflus. Don't get it twisted. I hope you're right, Laktara. I hope you're right. And I know you're hashtag Team Rolly over everybody else, including me. Rolly is he might be in soon, but he's not in yet. He's got NBA duty tonight. All right, guys, appreciate the questions. I already know I'm being flooded with DMs on social media, but if you have any questions, hit me up at HGrambitFL on Twitter. Same handle on Instagram. More to come. This is just getting started, folks. All right. Chi-Town Real Estate. Love you all. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it, brother. You're a real one. Jay-Z, he says, keep up the good work, guys. Appreciate that as well. A ghost of our hippo character floats in the front of words. Game over. Appreciate the super sticker, my friend. Alex E. says, we won't get a good OC because Flus is a lame duck coach. It's a fair point. Here's what I'll counter with. If during those interviews, Alex, they tell these candidates, hey, we're heavily leaning toward drafting Caleb Williams, I do think some candidates will chomp at the bit at that because they might look at that and say, hey, I ball out with Caleb Williams for 1 or 2 years, then I could be a head coach. So, I don't think there will be a complete lack of interest, but it's fair to wonder. Like, if I'm a candidate, I'm asking that question. Like, if I'm being interviewed, I'm firing a question back like, hey, are y'all firing the head coach if we don't make the playoffs next year? Because you look at a guy like Kellen Moore, right? Like, he takes the Chargers job this past year thinking, hey, if I do well with Justin Herbert, I could be a head coach. But things didn't go well for that team. Brandon Staley got fired, and now Kellen Moore's future, who, by the way, he could be a candidate here for OC, is somewhat in doubt, and he's not really considered a head coach candidate. I know he good note from producer Trace, he did interview for the Chargers head coaching gig, but does anyone think Kellen Moore is getting that job? No. But the point is if you're a coordinator, you are hesitant to join a staff that includes a head coach that could be fired if that season in year one when you join doesn't go well. So, it's a valid point.
Harrison, I have a proposition for you.
I love it. Let's hear it, Trace.
First thing to come in, 100 subs or $100 super chat, and we do a beer bong race.
I'm in.
You in?
Well, it would be 2 races.
2 races.
Because
it's
50
2 races.
is already
50.
won.
2 races. Sorry, my bad.
2 races.
2 races. Free option, 100 new subs.
Yep.
Super chat option, $100 super chat.
And you would get a sticker for a $100 super chat.
And
So,
we'll boom.
and you'll get hit with the boom, obviously. So if we get to 84,697, we're doing 2 beer bong races. If we get a $100 super chat, we're getting 2
Let's
races
go.
as well. Also, we're at $700. We're almost at $700. If we get to 1,000, that's a boot. You guys know the drill.
Woo.
That's a boot. That's 3 beers in one before.
Come on.
Before
Sub
noon.
for Bears dubs next season. Let's rack them up now.
Let's go.
Let's
Hit that
rack them
sub
up
button.
now. Let's get to the Super Bowl today.
Let's go. Tito with the 2. Thank God, but what does this mean for Justin Fields? A lot of you guys have asked me that. I'm sure you're just joining, Tito. That's why you're asking. I don't know. I think they're going to draft a quarterback. That's just gut feeling. But maybe not. I don't know. I think that's still undecided from the franchise's standpoint, but we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. Oh, man. And defensive flus from Alex. Appreciate the 2. Players seem to like him. I've said that. Look, he deserves a lot of credit for keeping this locker room together. They were 0-4. They had Claypool drama, Allen Williams drama, David Walker drama, and they stayed together. And especially the defense seems to like him. Like, again, I don't think Flus sucks. At one point, I actually don't think he sucks. He has improved. I'm just saying you don't have to settle. Trace knows this very well. He covers the Saints for us at Chat Sports. I think Dennis Allen is a better head coach now than he was first time around with the Raiders, but that doesn't mean
he should stick around.
Doesn't mean you believe he's a guy that can lead you to where you want to go.
Like, going from
he's fine. He's a great defensive mind, just like Flus. But do you ever have the vision? I'll ask you, Trace. Do you ever envision Dennis Allen even sniffing a Super Bowl?
No.
Because I don't see that with Flus.
No.
I'd love to be wrong.
It's one of those things where it's like second time around, they're doing better than the first time. Well, cool. It went from shit to stink. It's like, it went from really bad to only kind of bad.
Or average even.
Average, exactly.
And, I don't want average.
We want champions.
And, look, I'm not sitting here saying this team needs to win a Super Bowl next year. But, you had a playoff spot in your grasp this year if you just didn't fuck up, for a lack of a better word. Guys, they had a 99% chance to beat both Denver and Detroit, lost both, and a 91-point-something% chance to beat Cleveland and lost. 3 10-point fourth-quarter leads that they lost games. You were that close to being a 10-win team. So, yeah, the half glass full is, well, you were close. Well, the half glass empty, or just even, being reasonable is good teams don't blow games like that. I've said this before. Do you think Jim Harbaugh would have blown those games? No way.
Chance.
No way, man. I don't. Jake says, what if we keep Fields for now so we can build up the talent in the draft the QB in 2025? Any viable QBs next year? Well, it depends.
Our sweet Prince KJ Jefferson.
There's a couple decisions that have to be made.
Future UCF legend.
Quinn Ewers hasn't decided. I think he'll go back, so he could be one. J.J. McCarthy hasn't decided he could go back, so that could be
Shedeur.
one. I'm not a J.J. guy. Shedeur's a big one. Some people like Drew Aller of Penn State. I'm not a fan. I didn't see it this year. There's always a couple guys that emerge that are off the radar. But on paper, that class is not stronger than this one. Now, that could change. It often does, but like if Shedeur Sanders is the best QB in the draft next year, like if he came out this year, I think he'd be QB4 right now.
I think he's like
or
5 or 6.
Like he's behind. Whereas think about this time last year. Everyone said if Caleb Williams and Drake May could go to the draft, they'd be the top 2 quarterbacks last year. That's not the case when looking forward to next year for this year, right? No. Like Shedeur would be behind Williams, May, and I think Daniels too.
Argue Penix?
Maybe Penix. He's younger with less injury history, so
there's that.
Some teams would have him higher. But the point is, at absolute best, he'd be QB3, probably QB4 or 5. So, and again, that doesn't mean Shedeur couldn't go back, have this special year, and be awesome in the NFL. I like Shedeur Sanders. I think he's a good prospect, but I don't view next year on paper as a stronger one than this year. So, again, if Poles sits there and is evaluating these guys and he's like, Caleb Williams, I just can't pass on the guy, then he's going to draft him. And he should draft him if he feels that way. Eddie Padilla, shit is stupid, so when we get NOC, he will have no job security. This team will not succeed next season no matter what we do. Sell the damn team. Sell the team, George. Sell the team, George.
Nick is a first-time super chatter.
He is.
Thoughts on
And by the way, we had a few other ones, so I'm going to rip. I'll do 20 jumping jacks here.
Just real fast.
Read this one for me, Trace.
Thoughts on Frank Reich as offensive coordinator. He's a proven play caller and offensive mind, has ties to Flus in Indy.
10, 11, 12,
See, I think Frank Reich could
13,
be a fine play
14,
caller, but
15,
based off
16,
of what we saw the past
17,
2 years, he
18,
got canned.
19,
Canned
20.
when he got canned 2 years ago.
Yeah, and look, a lot of this business, Trace, is what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
He didn't last a full season in Carolina. Now, David Tepper's psychotic, so I think that's worth mentioning.
You got set up for failure there.
But it didn't end great in Indy either. Like, I guess I'd be okay with it. He would not be my top guy. The natural connection is there, obviously, with Flus, but I would rather go elsewhere. I'll just put it that way. Young Nile, another thing to think about. What good or proven OC is going to want to come in here? Lame duck coaching staff. Yeah, we've talked about this. I think you're probably selling any candidate on Caleb Williams, right? Hey, you get to develop Caleb Williams. Or you get to unlock and maximize Justin Fields. Oh, man. I've been working out to start the new year, but it's a slow grind to try and get back into shape. Ripping 20 like that after I've already done like 40 or 50.
For the record, 96 subs, and we're doing 2 beer bong races.
I'm feeling a little parched.
A little $100 super chat or 100 subs. What are we doing here?
Yeah, Trace is wheeling and dealing.
Come on now.
Let's go. Hit that sub button. Joseph, first timer. 1,
2, 3, 4, 5.
He says, hear me out, bring in Harbaugh, move Flus to D.C., trade for Mike Evans, draft MHJ, and get Dallas Turner.
You wouldn't have to trade for Mike
They're
Evans.
not, Eberflus is not staying for a demotion to D.C. We've been over this. Like, yes, in a perfect world, that sounds awesome. Harbaugh, you run the team. Flus, you run the defense. Get Mike Evans. You're not getting him and MHJ, by the way. You don't need both. But get one of those guys, draft Turner. Yeah, that sounds amazing, Joseph. Flus is not doing that. Why would Flus... Let's role play, Trace. You are Ryan Poles. I'm Matt Eberflus. You're telling me, hey, we want to bring in Harbaugh, but keep using the OC. Let's start. You go.
So we want you to stay on staff, Eberflus. However, we think that bringing in a new head coach would be a great idea, and we want you to take a pay cut and a demotion to stick with the organization. What do you think?
If I'm not the head coach, thank you for the 2 years. I'm going to go elsewhere.
But what if you stay on as the DC?
No.
But what if you stay on as the defensive coordinator?
No again, and here's why. Because I have more self-respect than to just... I would be the first person in sports history to go from head coach to coordinator at least in recent memory. Maybe it's happened before, but I can't think of a single time. I have more self-respect than that.
Flus, hear me out. Hear me out. What if we hire Jim Harbaugh and we make you the DC?
Oh, you mean that control freak that wants to be in charge of everything?
Yeah.
No.
But what if you're the DC?
Walks out door. That's how that would go. That was fun. What do you guys think? Will Justin Fields be on the team next year? I'm going to make this the poll, actually.
Panthers blocked Jags' request to interview Ejiro Evero. Interesting. I love that you can block
David Tepper's a jackass. Well, so it's actually a good thing. It's a thing worth mentioning, and it could apply to the Bears. I'll explain it in a second. So right now, Carolina has a head coach opening, but some assistants are still under contract and on staff. So their DC is Ejiro Evero. So other teams would be interested in him as the defensive coordinator. But as long as he's under contract, if it's not an upward move, you can block that.
Yeah.
Now, they're probably doing that just in case any head coach they bring in wants to keep him as the DC. So I kind of get it. But it also kind of sucks for him because, like, what if they don't keep him and then by the time he's let go, there's no openings?
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be interesting. But the reason that's relevant to the Bears is if they want to interview Eric Bieniemy or Kellen Moore, two teams who fire their head coaches, that doesn't mean those teams have to allow it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's not an upward move. So we'll see. They would have to be let go of their contracts, or the organization would just have to approve of that interview. Aaron, keep Fields, Bo Nix in a later round. I don't like Bo Nix.
You mean pick six Nix?
Gimmicky offense.
No, thank you.
I mean, if he fell to like the third or fourth, maybe, but
Bo Nix stinks.
I'm not a Knicks guy.
He stinks.
All right. We crossed $700 in super chats. Let's play a little. You want to go a little shot clock here?
It's a little shot
See what
clock.
people are thinking. We got a lot more work. We're not even halfway through the workday. So.
No. We can.
Have they thrown lunch into HQ, by the way? What's it looking like?
Piata orders at Studio A at 30 minutes ago. Do you want to go put your order in and I can hold it down?
Yeah, you hold it down and then we can switch.
All
Or
right,
do you
cool.
know what you want?
No.
Here, I'll go first. You take some questions, whatever, chop it up, and then we'll switch. Or yeah, you go first. You go first, and then we'll switch. All right, hit the like button. You want the Bears to crush the offseason. I guess. I wish Flus was gone, but it's like I told you yet. Well, Schefter said he's expected to return. But also, like, you're not firing your DC and then, like, 2 days later, oh, we're just going to fire the head coach, too. At least I don't think so. Dude, this Wink Martindale thing is getting wild, by the way. A lot of rooms, baby. Oh, man. Can we get an FGB chant in the chat? Get the FGB chant. Let's go. Brian says FGB. Am I seeing this correctly? Pat McAfee booted Aaron Rodgers. No more Rodgers on McAfee. Well, he also went on yesterday and said that he ripped some ESPN staffers. Yeah. It's like, I don't think ESPN was going to take this much longer. I know it's a ratings segment, but it's like, if he's going on that, well, someone tweeted out too, like, why am I watching insert political TV station every time Aaron Rodgers is on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN?
Mickey Mouse is going to shut that down.
Oh, I mean, if I'm tuning into McAfee, I don't need to hear Aaron Rodgers talk about how the whole world is against him and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Oh, man. A lot of FGBs coming in. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, Trey's going to hold it down. Hang on one sec.
What up? What up, Bears fans? How we feeling? How we feeling about Getsy being gone? Here's the thing. So I like to play this game when the hosts leave. Any super chat is a shot. If we get 100, I'm doing a beer bong of a shot. How's that sound? Fireball beer bong for an $100 super chat, and you get 2 beer bong races? Come on. That's 3 for the price of 1. That's 3 for the price of 1. Keep the FGBs going. I'm shouting out everybody who types FGB, and I'm going to keep them going in the comments section. Keep going. Type it faster than me. Type it faster than me. Also, we are less than 80 likes away from 1,000. Can we get to 1,000 likes? The Bears got to crush this offseason. We're turning the page. We're making things happen this offseason. And the Bears are going to find themselves back on top of the NFC North. That's what's happening this season. Like the video if you want to see that happen this offseason. Shout out to I Am Tor, Austin, Keith, Stephen Peck, Brad, David, Notorious TBG. That's my initials, fun fact. Aaron Wolf, Shaquille McNair, Devin Moore, Alan Pena, James Wooden, Austin, Donald, Chi-Town 65, Capital FGB, 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 FGB. Jeremiah, Foxtrot, Giovanni, David, Gilliman, J-Say, J69. Very nice. Very nice.
All right, what do you guys want to do? Y'all want to stay alive? I think we got a few super chats when you were ordering food that we can hit. You guys want to stay alive? Yes? No? Jess says Fields is staying. We'll see. We should draft both Sanders kids, then Dion will come and coach. Even Dion admitted his style probably doesn't work for the NFL.
Dion has too much
so the
swag.
Rodgers thing is the remainder of this season, which is like, makes sense. They're out.
Yeah. So like what?
That's kind of like a convenient way to just like, oh, yeah, we're kicking him off, but he'll probably be back next season. We should draft both. Yeah, Aaron, I don't, I don't think Dion's interested in the NFL, and I'm not that interested. Zermy with the 10. I'll take a shot for this one. Says, what's up, Harrison? Love the channel. Let's party like it's 85. Next year should be fun. Can we get a special shout out for Tybee, my little brother. It's his 21st. Oh, Zermy or Tybee. I think Tracy's got a drink for this one, too. 21st birthday? We'll take one down. Trace and I will both take one down. Shout out to Zermy. Shout out to Tybee. Happy birthday, man. Live it up safely tonight. Uber's your friend. Or have Zermy drive you around. Trace will get a shot ready. He'll hop on screen. We'll take this one together. Let's go.
Happy birthday, Zermy.
Cheers.
Or Tybee, excuse me.
Yeah, shout out to Tybee. Happy birthday, Zermy. Being a good older sibling. Appreciate it. All right, we got a couple more here. No Palencia, take a shot, brother. FGB. We just took one, no. Get the FGBs going for no. Shout out to no. Travis says, I just woke up to the news. Man, I'd love to. Someone says, looks like Justin Fields is staying. Are you basing that on the news, or is there a new report coming out? We'll see. We shall see. All right, NRG, bro, it does bother me somewhat that the Bears didn't really look into any of the head coach candidates, seeing as there are so many elite coaches out there. But Flus does have the locker room. That's a factor. It's definitely a factor, and that's something I have given him credit for. He has the locker room. The defense has improved. Those things are true. Cheers. Aaron Wolf, every time you guys take a bong shot, I smoke a complete bong. Well, we do a lot of those, so Aaron, participate wisely. That's the word I was looking for. Paleo, will you go live for the team press conference? Maybe. Has it been announced when it is yet, Paleo? I've been waiting for an official time. We might. Stay tuned. We'll definitely react to it either way. Jess Laseth with a 5. Watching polls in the box, he hated Getsy's play calling, knows he limited Fields. Bears blog says Bears bring in rookie quarterback to compete with Fields. I saw that. He later backed off that, or not backed off, but he said it could just be possum to, keep teams interested in trading for Fields. But, yeah, we'll see, Jess. We'll see. Timothy with the 10. This one's Trace's. What are some late-round running backs or safeties we could get? Late-round running backs and safeties. Ray Davis out of Kentucky comes to mind. Maybe a guy like Jace McClellan out of Alabama at running back. I'd have to look at safety.
I wish Rocket Sanders was in the draft this year.
Yeah.
He would be good as a Bear.
I haven't done a deep enough dive on late-round safeties, if I'm being completely honest. We'll get there, though. We'll get there. We got a few months. Eduardo, not an AR fan, but it's funny how EO freaks out. Who's EO? Everyone? Look, man, I don't really care. Forget the COVID opinions. I don't really care about that stuff. I mean, I have my opinion. He has his, but I've just never liked the guy. I remember going back to when he was at Cal. He threw a fit when the Rose Bowl chose Texas over Cal for the last BCS bowl game that year, and he's just always been a me guy to me. I've never liked his style, man. I've never liked his style. Yeah, I don't know. There's a reason there were years where, there was all these reports, people questioning his leadership, this and that. I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of his, and obviously him being the Packers quarterback just added to that dislike. So, there's more reasons than just what his political stances are. Aaron Wolf, Bears future plans, draft Sanders kids. Coach Prime will come. Open an OnlyFans page. What's your deal with OnlyFans? I'm not starting an OnlyFans.
Aaron's a big OnlyFans guy, I guess.
Big OnlyFans guy. Kalen Williams, hey, what's up, Barrison? Here's my take. Keep Fields. FGB, trade Mooney. Well, Mooney's free agent, so you're not trading him. You're either re-signing him or letting him go. Getting Edge, Maserati Marv, and didn't they fire the QB coach? Yeah. If you're just joining us, Andrew Janoko is also out. So is wide receiver and passing game coordinator, wide receivers coach, passing game coordinator, Tyke Tolbert. So I think a lot of the offensive staff will be scrapped. And maybe O-line coach Chris Morgan, maybe tight end coach Jim Dre stay. But I think most of them will be replaced. Paul Whitmore with the 10. I'll take this one. He says, without firing Eberflus, this is a day of sadness and not a day to rejoice. Best head coach options out there. And we run it back with a lame duck. Good luck getting a top-tier OC. Yeah, look, if they don't get a top-tier OC and it doesn't work out, the decision to keep Flus could be a vital one for Ryan Pohl's future. It really could. DJ Knight, are Bears now going to stream playoff games? Also, personal thoughts changed about keeping Fields after the Getsy news. For a few weeks now, I've kind of been content either way. Keep Fields, cool. If you want to draft a quarterback, that's cool as well. I see both sides of it. I know a lot of people think keeping Flus means Fields stays. I don't necessarily see it that way, but I don't think that decision's made either. I think it could still swing either way, but a lot of Caleb Williams rumors. If they really like Caleb Williams, they're probably going to draft him. As far as the playoff games go, this is the perfect time to tell you guys, we are going to go live on Sunday for the Packers and the Lions game, doubleheader. Now, we're not going to be live probably right at kickoff for the Packers game. That one's 3:30 on Sunday or something like that. So. And then the night game for the Lions game at 7. We'll probably go live at about halftime of Packers-Cowboys, FGB in the chat, and then we'll stay live for the Lions-Rams game. Kind of works out. The NFC North games are back-to-back, so we will do that. So if you guys are excited about that, if you want us to go live, if you don't, type no. We'll scrap it. Listen, I'll just I'll stay at home and drink some cocoa. But we thought we'd go live for you guys. So type Y for yes if you want us to go live. Type N for no if you don't.
And subscribe.
And hit that sub button. If we get to 85,000 subs before then, it's basically a lock that we're going live. No Palencia, LOL. What are your thoughts on the GOAT, Jay Cutler, wanting to build around Fields? Also, what are they going to do with Eddie Jackson? He's been a letdown. I think it's over for Eddie Jackson. Maybe he takes a pay cut, but I think they probably cut him and replace him. Yeah, I haven't even had a chance to talk about that, but Jay Cutler hopped on a podcast. Can't remember which one. and said he would trade the number 1 pick and keep building around Fields. So found that pretty interesting. Shout out to Smokin' Jay. Aaron Wolf, thoughts on Arch Manning? He's got 2 more years of college football, man. He's not draft eligible until 2026. So I've seen him throw like 6 passes in college. I know he's Peyton Manning's nephew and Eli Manning's nephew, but beyond that, as far as like future NFL quarterback, no idea. Who will be the next Bears offensive coordinator? If you had to take a guess, who will it be? Drop your names in the comments. Who's going to be the
I've seen a lot of yeses for the watch parties.
Yeah, I think we'll do the watch parties.
We're also 20 likes away from 1,000, for the record.
Hit the like button.
We're almost at 1,000 likes. We're 20 away.
Beer bong race for 1,000 likes?
Oh, no doubt.
All right,
no doubt.
We'll take one down for 1,000 likes.
The 2 biggest super chats we've gotten have been 50s.
Let's go.
Can we get 100?
We had 100.
We did have 100 very often.
It was who was it? I put the sticker on back.
It was
here.
off the top.
It was Horowitz because he's been
right.
balling out this year.
We're at 1,000.
Arthur Smith. No, I know he was good in Tennessee, but their offense was awful this year.
I'm really sad that the Falcons fired Arthur Smith. I think he was a fine coach.
Kellen Moore, Bieniemy, Kingsbury, Moore, Bevel, Caldwell are my top choices. Todd Monken, he's already an OC, so he's not. That would be a horizontal move. Ken says you look thirsty, Harrison, with the $10 super chat. You know what, Ken? That is actually correct, which means I'm going to take a shot. Thanks to you, Ken. I would love Todd Monken. All right, we crossed 1,000 likes. We'll do a beer bong race. And then if we don't get any more super chats, we'll probably call it a show. Got to get some food in me. Just grab a. Ooh. Trace says if we get a $50 super chat in the next minute, 1 minute, and I'll join them, we'll each pour some Fireball into our beer bong. We'll each pour some Fireball into our beer bong, all right? 1 minute. I'll put a shot clock up or a stopwatch out here.
Come on.
We get a $50 super chat. It'll be a jungle bong. Get some beer. We'll get some Fireball in there.
On the jungle.
Here we go. Here we go. 15 seconds gone. Christopher says, get drunk. I'm buzzing for sure. This food's going to hit different. What did you get, by the way?
I went with the avocado piata. No, I went with the chef piata, and I put chicken in there.
I went with the carbonara pasta. Usually I had chicken. I'm trying steak today, though, so we'll see. I don't know. I don't really view steak as like a natural meat for carbonara, but I was feeling it. There's 2. If it's 50 cumulative, we'll count it. So we're now 48 away. We'll go 30 more seconds here. 30 more seconds here.
Come on.
We'll extend to a minute and a half. We're at 1 minute. We'll go a minute and a half. Otherwise, we'll just do a normal race here. Roger says Bears should rename themselves to the Cubs since they are harmless in the NFL. At least the Cubs won a World Series in the last decade. Although it took over 100 years. All right, we're now at about $10. We need 40 more.
Come on.
10 seconds here.
Let's go. Let's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Says they're drinking water and apple juice. If Happy Dad, which you saw us open the beer, or the, whatever you're going to call this, the can, 5% alcohol. If that's water, then sure. There it is, Wasim. All right, let's pour. Oh, man. I'll go hefty. Whew. Yeah, I've done a couple. It's a little gnarly. Little swoosh. And by the way, we're 140 from 1,000. We might as well get there. I mean, we might as well get there. I'll do a boot and Trace will do another bong.
If we don't get to 1,000, we're Packers.
Ooh, He says we're worse than Packers fans if we don't get to 1,000. All right, here we go. He's T for Trace. I'm H for Harrison. Let us know who you got winning this race in the chat. I'll count us down. It's 1-1, so this breaks the tie. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, the ending was tough. The ending was tough.
I didn't like that. Yeah, that job.
Ken with the great comment. What's the deal with these noobs accusing you guys of not drinking? If anyone saw your draft coverage last year and how hammered you were. Dude, I ended that show and passed out on our couch for about 2 hours.
I'm going to just go ahead and admit this while I'm off screen. There has been watch parties that I left, and I don't remember leaving them. It has happened on multiple occasions.
We do Uber. Don't worry.
We Uber. I walk to and from work, so it's really.
I have to Uber, but Aaron says I'm smoking a bong with some live rosin. Is that safe? What is that?
It's just makes it stronger.
Okay.
Makes it stronger.
Little boost.
Yeah, just
There
it's
you
like
go.
it's like the NOS, you know.
There you go. All right. Parker says, what is your dream scenario for this team? Well, the dream was Harbaugh, but that's dead. So the realistic dream is, how about this, Parker? Whoever the OC and quarterback is, I don't care who it is, it works. I know that sounds simple. We have not had top-tier offensive play on this team in a while, and you could argue really ever. I mean, even the peak Jay Cutler days, those weren't elite offenses. They were very good, but they were not elite. So get this offense to at least top 15, top 10 next year. The defense should be good. If the offense takes a big step forward, then this is a for sure playoff team. Aaron Wolf, Olin needs to be on the staff somewhere. Olin Kreutz. Yeah, I mean, that'd be dope. Even if it was just as like a consultant, I'd be in. Paleo, we interviewed Jim Caldwell a couple of years back. I'm interested in him since he's a proven offensive play caller and is a good coach. Yeah, he's 67, 68, so he's an older guy, but, for a few years short term. The good news with Caldwell, if you brought him in, I don't think you're worried about him getting a head coaching job at that age. So, he's a guy you could have for a few years. So, I am intrigued for that reason, Paleo. So, we'll see. We'll see if he's in the mix. He's currently a senior analyst with the Carolina Panthers. Levi, I want to keep Justin Fields, but if we draft Caleb Williams, what about Lincoln Riley as OC? The head coach at USC is not leaving to be an NFL offensive coordinator. Cliff Kingsbury, the USC quarterbacks coach, that's a different story. But unless you offer Lincoln Riley the head coaching gig, which even then I don't know if he'd take it, he's not taking a demotion to OC when he has a top 10 college football head coaching job. Wasim Khan, drink up. We did it, Wasim. We did it. Z-Man, if we sign Mike Evans, do you think we would still get MHJ? I doubt it. If you sign Mike Evans or get a T. Higgins or a Michael Pittman, like one of these top free agent receivers, you're not getting Marvin Harrison, and you're probably not getting Neighbors or Adunze either. That probably means you'd maybe draft a receiver on day 2, but Evans and DJ Moore will be your top 2 guys, and, add a guy in the slot in free agency or in the draft. Stephen Hume, first-time super chat. 3, 4, 5. Shout out to Steven.
Harrison, you have had a lot of people ask where you got that shirt.
I know, and I told you guys I would help you out and send you guys a link. It's been tough to find again. So my wife Hannah found it when she was Christmas shopping. She's been looking for it. So stay tuned. We're not giving up. It was one of those obscure stores that popped up on her Facebook feed.
Was it like a Facebook?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They just pop up and then you never see them again.
Yeah.
So
they take your money.
It's pretty cool though, right?
It's
bear down. He's going down the elevator. Let's go. We'll try to make it work. I know a couple of you guys have DM'd me too. Matthew, feel vindicated. Sounds like we're keeping Justin Fields, drafting a quarterback, let the best man win. Could you imagine a Caleb Williams, Justin Fields QB competition?
Honestly,
I mean, for the channel, it would be awesome.
It would be a lot of fun, but
I don't think it's realistic.
If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0 quarterbacks.
Well, it's also even if Justin Fields wins it this year, unless Caleb is awful, that you're not keeping him long term. So why not just trade him while his value is at least somewhat high?
Yeah, you have to. If you're going to go get Caleb, you have to move on from
That's
Fields.
how I feel about it. NRG bro, Jamarcus Russell, Johnny Manziel, David Carr, Vince Young, Ryan Leaf, all generational talents. I'm not a fan of drafting anyone first overall with as many red flags. I will say this. How many of the red flags that are discussed publicly are actually red flags for NFL teams? Like, are NFL teams going to be like, we're not drafting Caleb Williams because he paints his fingernails? No, they're going to say the guy can fucking throw a football 70 yards and makes all, like, they're not going to not draft him for that reason. That's the point I'm making. Now, they're going to ask him questions about his mentality, like we've been talking about, like, you know, the crying after the game with his parents type deal. Like, that, you could take that two ways. That at least shows me the guy cares. Now, it's not the best look if I'm being honest, but at the same time, like, I don't think people are going to look at a couple of things that have come public and be like, hey, he's undraftable. Like, they're going to get to know the kid, and then they're going to determine if he can handle it and if he's good enough. That's how this works. Matthew Burns, Olin would be a great break your jaw if you don't listen guy. Yeah, I mean, he's a hard ass for sure. Daily basis, man, I was preparing myself for a new quarterback and everything. Maybe Harbaugh said no to the job. Well, playoff teams have stacked rosters to trade the pick. If I had to guess, I don't think there was any Harbaugh conversation, or at least like with him. Maybe inside the building they discussed it, but I would guess they haven't reached out. Our food's in, if that's what you're asking. Is that what you're asking? We're at 894. So, any offers? Jeremy Chugs, the boot chug master. If we get to 1,000, race.
Right now, in the next 30 seconds, if we get 100, I'll race you.
All right. Jeremy Chugs says in the next 30 seconds, if we get a $100 super chat, he will do a beer bong race with me. 30 seconds, though. He's got a lot of work to do. So we're starting the timer. 30 seconds. If we get 100, what's your record? Like 6.5 seconds on a beer boot?
Yeah, give or take.
I'm trying to get him into the lemonade chug contest that they do before the hot dog eating contest in New York for July 4th. Ooh, little Mendo. Ooh.
Does it smell good? Yeah, it smells good.
Shopmando.com. Jeremy Chugs loves it.
Maybe a little, you want to?
I'm good right now. Put some on this morning.
Full body?
Put some on this morning. All right, 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's okay. It wasn't meant to be.
Wasn't meant to be. It's all right. There goes Jeremy Chugs. Daily basis, man. We got him. We got him in. You fire that away because we got to soak up this booze. Zeus says, do you see a scenario where Poles is holding on to the Flus for now and behind the scenes talking to Harbaugh? I don't really, Zeus, because of how much highly he's talked about Poles, but I could be wrong. First time super, do some jumps.
Another day, another Raiders report deal, or what?
We get to 1K, somebody's got a boot race.
All right, so now Mitch is saying if we cross $1,000, he's the host of the Raiders Report. Doesn't have to be one person. We're 105, $100 and $100 would do it total.
Who's racing me? Boot race.
I'll race you.
Boot race?
Boot race between me and Mitch.
I got a lot of stuff to do still.
Me and Mitch. If we get to 1,000 in supers,
It's not even noon, and we might put up a boot race.
it's up to you guys. Up to you guys.
Also, look at how we're progressing.
Less
Closing
than
in on
400 away
85.
from 85.
Let's get to 85K today.
Less than 400 away.
900 people watching right now. I know every single one of you haven't subscribed, so I'm calling out you, and you.
Let's go. Hit that sub button. I think we do this, Trace. Since we got an offer from Mitch, we're right at $100 away. I could go 5 minutes on the timer. If we don't get there in 5 minutes, we call it a show.
I think it's fair.
5 minute. Can we get the graphic for it?
I can do it.
5 minute graphic shot clock. We'll take some questions in the meantime. We know not everybody can super chat, so we can hit some hashtag Bears here questions as well. We'll obviously continue to put super chats up, but 5 minutes. If we get to 1,000, we'll do a boot race. If not, we got to sign off. I got a lot more work to do. This was not on Trace's schedule today, so he hasn't even started his workday technically. Well, he has, but like he's got to
started my.
He's got to play catch up. He's got his own stuff to do now. So 5 minutes. Here we go. If we get to 1,000, Mitch and I will do a boot race to sign off. If not, we'll just we'll call it a day.
Come on.
Super chats plus hashtag Bears. We'll get a few of those in. I do want to get some of the non-super chatters in the show as well. So let's get those in there. Trevor says, most realistic call the Bears could get if they trade the number 1 overall pick to a team like the Patriots or Commanders. I mean, you'd get more for New England because that's from 3 to 1. So maybe you get 3 their first next year and another pick, something like that, maybe a second. It would probably be similar with Washington. Would they give you your first next year? If they were desperate enough, they might. So something like that. Something like that, Trevor. I think you get a couple extra picks. So, Richie Rich, don't think whoever they bring in as OC will have a say on whether to keep Fields or draft the QB. Do you think they could be looking at an offensive coordinator who could be elevated to head coach if Flus fails in 24? Here's my thought, Richie. If you have that thought, then you should just fire Flus. Like, if your thought on this OC hire is, well, in the back of your head, like, well, if Flus doesn't work, we just promote this guy, then why not just hire that guy? Like, if you're already thinking that way. So, I think the answer to that's actually no. John Orticelli, 10-24 for Flus, 2-10 in the division. Yeah, the right question of taking back the North and never giving it back. What am I missing here? I think and this isn't me, this is, I think, what Poles and the Bears are thinking is, well, year 1 was a wash. They took steps in the right direction year 2, faced a lot of adversity. The team stayed together. But I'm with you. I don't think it's good enough. Sorry, I have higher standards. 2 minutes almost gone. No new super chats, so boot race may not be on the table today. Jamie Nichols, what about internal OC options? I like Janoko. He was fired. No one internal will take over this offense. I can promise you that. They are scrapping this offense and going in a new direction. That I can promise you. Wayne Jerky, do you see Mel Kiper talk about Atlanta trading the number 8 pick in the draft to Fields? Thoughts? Seems to be far-fetched. Well, what's interesting, too, is The Athletic, not Dane Brugler, it was someone else, put out a mock draft today. They did have Atlanta trading up from 8 to 1 to draft Caleb Williams. So, interesting. Patrick, Mike Yursich is the OC. Gross. Not a fan of his. Why not get Mim? Not sure what that is. Schefter, Caleb Williams is not an NFL quarterback. I think he is. I think he comes with flaws, but I think he's an NFL quarterback. How should the Bears handle Tyson Bagent? I think he'll be on this roster next year, whether it's the backup or QB3. He'll be here. He'll be on the 53. He's worth continuing to develop for sure. I don't think he's a starter in this league, but I think he can be a quality backup. Old Gringo, can Justin Fields bring a number 1, like a first-round pick? Maybe, like I see a team like the Steelers maybe that made the playoffs, like a team picking around in the 20s perhaps could get desperate enough. I don't think a team picking in the top 10 or 12 would, though. There's a 20, so 2 minutes left and we're $80 away. Who's going to help Aaron Wolf out? Barry McCockner. Would you prefer Bieniemy or Ken Dorsey? If it's Caleb Williams, probably Bieniemy, because Bieniemy's worked with a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes that has a similar skill set. And no, I'm not saying Caleb Williams is Patrick Mahomes, but there are similarities there. Aaron, the most the Bears get is a second-round pick plus a 5th and a 6th possibly for Fields, but Kiper said Atlanta would give their own first. Do you see any other teams giving up a first for Fields? Like I said, Pittsburgh maybe, Aaron. Maybe Vegas. But I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. If you can get a first for Fields, that as much as I like Justin, if you're set on getting a new quarterback, that's pretty hard to turn down. LaCora, if Whitehair and Eddie are being cut approximately plus $30 million, it's really like plus 22, but what's your free agent targets? We'll have a free agent targets video. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you cut both of them, you're up to like $85 million in projected cap, so you're already over 60. So yeah, I think Whitehair's for sure gone, and Eddie probably is too. 30 seconds. It's going to take a heroic effort here. We're $80 away from 1,000. Mark Sutt, draft MHJ, hire Jim Harbaugh, sign Derrick Henry, draft Michael Penix as backup Super Bowl 2025. Why do you need Penix as your backup? I don't know about that part. But yeah, I would have loved Harbaugh. The rest of that I love, but it doesn't seem like they're going to go the Harbaugh route. Zeus YouTube, 10 seconds left. I wouldn't drop to number 3 because who says Cardinals wouldn't jump the Bears to number 2 and take MHJ? I mean, you almost feel like if that happens, like, so be it, right? Like, if the Cardinals are going to trade up when they have a million needs for a receiver, then have at it. I'm not worried about that if I'm Ryan Poles, if I'm being honest. All right, we'll let a few seconds come in. Oh! Let's answer Notorious first. How do you feel about the Bears signing T. Higgins? I'd be down, but he's going to be franchise tagged, so you'd have to trade for him. Sealand! Boom! Couple of boots. Here, I'll message you which Happy Dad I want. Couple of boots.
Boo, 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 boo. Sealand, Sealand, Sealand,
Let's go.
Sealand,
Sealand.
Sealand,
Sealand.
Sealand,
Sealand. Sealand. Get the booms in the chat. Let's go, baby. Shout out to Sealand, man. You know what? Sealand just always delivers. I mean, I know they called Karl Malone the mailman because he always delivered. Sealand is the mailman of
Oh, no doubt.
Which, by the way, I don't know why my
Mine isn't updating either.
chat revenue isn't updated.
Mine isn't
We're over
updated.
1,000.
We're
It doesn't
over
matter.
1,000.
We're there. Shout out to Sealand.
Sealand.
Let's go. Let's go. Johnny Chimpo says Caleb Williams, can't wait to get a jersey. Listen, I'm going to root for Caleb Williams if he's here. I'm going to root for Justin Fields if he's here. I just want the Bears to win. That's what I want. I want the Bears to win.
Would you root for Mitchell Trubisky if he was here?
All right, so the Bears, I mean, if he was still here, yeah, I would. I wouldn't expect him to do much, but...
But you'd root for him.
All right, the Bears just tweeted out an article. Let's see. The Bears have released Luke Getsy and additional offensive staff members of their duties. So here we go. Let me make sure. So Luke Getsy, Andrew Janocko, Omar Young, who took over as the running backs coach after David Walker exited, and assistant tight ends coach Tim Zetz have been released. The Bears will host a press conference at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus will speak, followed by President and CEO Kevin Warren. That's pretty much confirmation that Flus is back, if it wasn't already.
This one from Cole real quick. Thoughts on Derrick Henry?
I'd sign him. I actually like the idea. 1 or 2 year deal for Henry. Let me get this tweet out real quick.
You can
side this side. We'll go full screen.
Get the FGBs in the chat. Get the FGBs in the chat. Joseph's typing FGB. J69's typing it. Fear the Squid's typing it. Real Deal Bob. James Wooden. Byron Robertson. Keith Hall. Chris Foster. G. Will says Trizzy to replace Roley. I wish Roley was here to hear that.
Listen, when
F Roley, get the F Rollies in the chat.
When Trace is here, he always
Roley.
He always balls out.
F Roley, get the F Rollies in the chat.
What's your average speed? Would you say?
Oh man.
Welcome Mitchell Renz to the Bears Now. Raiders report host.
We love Roley.
Been a lot of Justin Fields rumors on Raiders, by the way.
I can do sub 20.
If you're just doing, like, you're not going slow, but standard, 30-ish seconds?
I'd say 25.
You're definitely faster than me then.
All right, what do you want head start?
How about 5-second head start?
5 seconds
My
start.
record is in the third. Like, if I do well, it's 30 or so. So here's what we'll do. Trace will count down from 5. Like, Trace, once you say 5, I start.
Okay.
You go 5 down to go, 5 to 4, 3 to 1, go. That's when Mitch starts.
Okay.
So that's how we'll do it.
All right, who you got? Bears or Raiders?
Bears or Raiders? Who wins this race? Who wins this race?
Hopefully it's better than week 7.
Yeah. Shout out Tyson Bagent. Think about this. We had a game in the NFL this year, Tyson Bagent versus Brian Hoyer. How is that possible? How is that possible? Which, by the way, this hasn't updated for some reason, but we're over.
Who you got, Raiders or Bears?
Bears or Raiders? I'll be honest. Even with the 5-second head start, Mitch is probably the favorite here. This is cold too.
Over under 6 seconds
This is cold too.
for
Oh,
Mitch.
I got King Shav. That's one of my guys. from
King
Raiders.
Shav. He's
up,
going
King?
Raiders. There you go. All right. Trace, once you say 5, I start, and then at go, Mitch can start.
All right.
Bears or Raiders, let us know. I'm ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your chugging in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Chug, 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 chug. Mitch is closing in. Mitch is closing in. Harrison, can he get there? Who's gonna get it? It's Mitchell Renz. Harrison with the short. He's just short. Had a good effort. Great chug by both men.
I tried, man.
Speech.
Sealand, you're a legend, man.
Sealand's a real one. We talk about Sealand a lot in the Bears Now office, or in the Chat Sports office. Yeah, there it goes. I gave it a go, man. I knew he'd probably win, but
That was a great effort, though. That's what matters.
that's one of my better ones. I'll be honest.
It was
For
a
me,
great effort.
For me, that was good.
Great effort.
They've had a lot of practice. We've had a lot of practice, but Raiders,
They practice every day.
they invented practice.
they do practice every day. No
All right.
spillage either, which was nice.
Had a little, but
bit.
not a ton, though. Not a ton. All right. Hell of a stream. Thanks to everybody who liked the video, who tuned in. Luke Getsy, Andrew Janoko, Tyke Tolbert, a couple other assistants are out. We'll see what we do at 3 o'clock. I don't know if we'll come back live for the press conference, but we'll definitely have a video afterwards. So stay tuned for that. We'll also have some Luke Getsy replacements that we're going to dive into. So lots more of content to come. We go live every Thursday, so we'll probably go live tomorrow as well. So we're just getting started, man. Just getting started. Should be a fun week. We'll see. I'll be curious to see. You know they're going to get asked about why did you keep Matt Eberflus. I'll be very curious to see
The response will be interesting.
what they say. That'll be fascinating. All right, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're trying to get to 85,000. Shout out Trace in the chat. He's a real one, and we will see you guys soon. Bear down.